Cool. So, how many of you had a volunteer day this last weekend? You can just raise those little hands. Yay! So what we want to spend some time doing this morning is really just celebrating you guys, celebrating what happened, and really just kind of hearing from you a little bit, and then we'll transition into some breakouts. But so I'd love to hear from those of you who had a spring volunteer day, if you guys could share a highlight, share something that worked really well for you guys, that maybe some other cities can benefit from. We would just love to hear that. Just tell us the wins, tell us the highlights that you've got, and I'll just open the floor for there.
This is so in the weeds, but knowing that you guys are all planning citywide days of service, I think you'll appreciate this. We are always trying to increase our project sites' ownership of our projects and almost coach them through how to encourage and bring volunteers back throughout the year, because we don't want volunteers just showing up once a year and being like, I did my one good deed of the year, but instead encouraging those volunteers to engage with what they're doing and consider how they could be a part of it year round. And we had some amazing feedback from our volunteers and our project sites that they just felt more prepared than ever. And that I've gotten a lot of feedback about returning volunteers. So my project sites are starting to say, hey, because of City Serve Day, that's what we call our day of service, that we do twice a year. Because of City Serve Day, I have a family that comes every week to volunteer. Or because of City Serve Day, I actually got one of my major donors this year. So we're starting to hear some of those stories, and that this time around was just so encouraging, because that's the goal, is year-round investment in our nonprofits and our schools and our neighborhoods and our parks. And we're starting to see that in Colorado Springs. So that was just a win for me.
That is awesome.
Awesome.
Who else wants to go? Who wants to share about their last weekend?
We had a great experience. This is Nancy from Love Tuolumne County, and we always try to get youth involved in volunteering and instill that at a young age. So we push to get them out on our projects. We had a project at a place called Grandma's House, which helps struggling students through their educational time. And they had a concrete patio, a concrete porch off the back with about a 3-foot drop, and they wanted us to build some stairs there. So we had a master craftsman there who was going to help build these stairs, but there was a young kid, a teen about 16 years old there, who wanted to help. He never picked up a power tool, I don't think. And the craftsman slowed down everything he was doing and took the time to actually teach this teen how to put in these stairs, how to use the tools and how to do it, and really make a wonderful first volunteer experience for him.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Who else? Yeah.
I'll go ahead. This
Perfect.
is Randy from Riverbank in California. And I think one of the highlights for me is, first of all, it was my first time leading it. And then Riverbank has been off the map for a few years. So, and we got a late start. So I was kind of like, just kind of going along with the ride, but it all worked out at the end. We had a little, just over 100 volunteers, but I think the thing that I didn't get to go to this particular project, but I heard a lot of great things from it. We have a convalescent hospital in our city. It has 99 residents. And so we had a team that was able to go into the residents and have activities with them. And I just found out that a lot of the residents there don't even have any family or any visitors. So as a pastor, I broke my heart, and it opened up a door to, when we love our cities, when I feel like I'm called to love Riverbank, I just thank God for that open door, because now we can kind of tend to that and just make sure that they have somebody that lets them know that, we're thinking about them. So it was really one of the projects for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to even what Corey was saying is you keep these relationships, like it's the catalytic event, right? Where these relationships are born and you're able to then say, okay, what else is needed throughout the year? So it was awesome that you had that opportunity. All right, who else?
Hi, I'm Megan
Hey.
with Love Waterford.
Woo.
We're hey neighbors to Riverbank, and I think I saw Lisa from Oakdale on here too.
Yeah.
We did 2 new things this year, and during our rally, we actually, rewind. Our community is very, we have a very large population of Spanish only speaking people. And so they're a huge part of our volunteer groups. There's a Hispanic church in town that kind of like takes over our alleyway cleanup projects. And so this year we started providing like a live translation during our rally. And just the feedback from that was that they felt really valued in that moment because they could understand what we were saying. So that was a pretty cool moment. And then during the morning, like check-in and rally, and even through our celebration time, we had a prayer tent this year. And one of our pastors that partners with us and prays for us, he shared he's been struggling with some discouragement. And so we were able to encourage just a co-laborer with us. And there was a lady that came into the tent that didn't speak English, and she just wanted prayer because she believed in the power of prayer. She didn't care what language it was in. So those are our highlights. And of course, we had a good turnout and the weather was nice. And so, but those are our main takeaways this time.
I have a takeaway to add to Love Waterford since we're actually close. One of my committee members sent me a screenshot after your volunteer day, after ours. It said it was from her assistant who went and volunteered at Love Waterford and said, I was with all these church people and you're always talking to me about church and I'm going to church with them tomorrow.
Wow, that's so cool.
So I can go ahead and share about Love Oakdale. Were you done, Megan? So we had a crazy day. We had almost twice as many volunteers this year as last year. And so going from about 350 to over 650. And as we were watching those numbers grow in the weeks before leading up to with our signups was a little bit of scrambling, getting there to make sure we had enough food and enough waters and just a way to check them all in. And but everything went pretty smoothly and all attributed to someone God just plunked in our laps who took over our social media and killed it and just got so much engagement. So that's my biggest takeaway is everybody needs a social media genius because she just had us just on the map in the whole community. And
Wow.
It was fantastic. Probably one of my favorite projects was we have a baker in town who everybody loves her cookies, and she baked 400 cookies. And I called around to all the senior housing developments and then bought all this stuff that was yellow and made bags of sunshine with her homemade cookies, and a team packed those up and then delivered them all to all the seniors throughout town. So that was a fun one. We worked with 11 nonprofits and lots of schools and lots of city areas. And it was just a really great day.
Lisa, did you also increase the number of projects, or did your projects, were they able to accommodate the 2X?
We only had about 5 more projects or so, 5 or 6 more projects than last year. I had gone to the city actually after Love Oakdale last year and said, we need our projects to be more substantial. We have a great relationship with our city public works, and I had sent teams there last year. And once they got there, the city had kind of done a lot of the work. And so they didn't really feel needed. There wasn't a lot of things for them to do. That was not the case this year. So they did make our projects much more substantial. And so the city actually had to come bail us out with a couple bark projects. They dumped like 100 yards of bark at a couple projects, and finally teams are calling, we're not going to finish. And the city sent over some equipment and helped them finish it. But I was sending 50 people to each elementary school. We did like repainted asphalt games and did lots of landscaping, lots of bark and under playgrounds. And so, yeah, we were able to send pretty substantial teams to a lot of our sites. And then we did 14, I think, separate individual homes, which is always one of my highlights. So I love sending those teams to bless our seniors that way.
Thanks for sharing.
Those manual labor projects, man, you can just go there.
I can't get anyone to sign up for the river cleanup though.
Ah,
So that's my goal for this year. So it was a group of dedicated senior citizens who would do it even if it wasn't Love Oakdale Day.
no.
And I was really hoping to get a team to join them and I didn't. So that's my goal for next year, is to somehow get people willing to do that. They still hauled away 2 dumpsters full of, I think 28 yards full of waste from just this river area, one river area. But so that's our big goal, to amp that up next year.
Okay. Awesome.
I'll jump in. My name is Timothy from Love Lodi, and can you guys hear me? I just want to make sure. All right. So this was kind of like our first year. We co-chaired with Glenn Barnes last year. We kind of took over, and he's still on the team. It's great, but we wanted to transition from just the one citywide volunteer day to year-long impact. And so we actually started in the fall and had some good projects. And so at the rally this year, we were able to hear from the vice principal from Lawrence Elementary, because we kind of had become their de facto PTA because they didn't have one. And so we had raised like $10,000 worth of just gifts for academic achievement and citizenship awards. And so she spoke, and then the mayor declared the last Saturday in April Love Lodi Day. So that was pretty cool. And then we had a community picnic this year, and we had a corporate sponsor for that, which was pretty amazing. And so we had a band, we had we also kind of hosted a nonprofit fair. So we had like 15 nonprofits out there. And so that was really great to see everyone connecting, networking, and we're just kind of saying, hey, we're championing volunteering. And so it was just great to see all the interaction. The Kiwanis cooked a kind of barbecue hot dog lunch. And so we gave out about 480 hot dogs at the community picnic. I think all in all, we had about 700 volunteers. Some highlights on the projects. We had one of the local churches was given a house to make like a sober living house. And so we did an indoor outdoor remodel of that. One kind of cool one for the school is during the storms, one of this giant oak trees fell down. And so we planted a tree, and they had brought out all their student leadership. They took a video of it. I mean, it was a big deal for the school. And so that was pretty amazing. And then there was another church that there's a nonprofit in town called 180, and they have like these missional neighbors. And during the storm, their fence that affected 3 neighbors all fell down. And so we had a church kind of helped sponsor it financially, but then they found someone that could do the fence. And so they fully did the fence on the day. And so those were 3 of the projects. We had, I think, close to, 60 to 70 projects for the day. And so, yeah, it was a good day. And then we are looking at maybe doing like we kind of invited people back to a end of summer trash pickup, like a citywide trash pickup after, everyone does their events in Lodi. And then we also invited them back to kind of like, we're going to host a food truck frenzy at a local winery and do some kind of showcase for our fall winter projects that we want to do. So we invited them back to that. So it was a good day.
That is awesome.
That sounds like an incredible day.
Yeah.
As y'all are, as different cities are sharing, I don't know about you, but I'm getting a little glimpse of heaven. That this is what God intends. God intends for people to express love. And this is a beautiful moment of worship where we get to reflect back. Hey, this is how your people are bragging on you, God. Any other thoughts or stories that we can continue to as kind of an expression of worship?
I might mention Love Me Antigua. We're up 40% from last year, still short of where we should be. But we got some interaction with the Sikh community that was new and distinct. And they said, what else could we do? And Kiwanis was doing a complimentary breakfast. And I said, okay, I believe Sikhs don't eat sausage and I'm not sure about eggs, but would you bring something Indian? And they did as a compliment to that breakfast. And that was really cool. We got 3 additional people on our leadership team, and all of them are city councilmen or an admin for the fire chief. And so we got a lot of traction with the city being very involved with us.
Yeah.
And then something simple as those little city signs, lawn signs, saying this is a Love Me Antigua project site around town, that garnered a lot of increased registration, like in one day when they went up. So those were a few things. And then I think this is my 12th year leading this. I'm excited to introduce Gloria Fuentes Swift. She's in the call. She's my successor in Love Me Antigua, but that was exciting as well.
Welcome, Glow.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm happy to be on board. I got a lot of big shoes to fill, and I love all of these ideas that you guys are having, or stories, because they're ideas for me. So, you know, it always can be bigger, better for the kingdom, right? So I'm just excited. And like you said, the outcome is always a piece of heaven.
Yeah.
We had one particular project that was really, I don't know, touching. We had a school that needed some shelving built in their kindergarten closet. They needed to be able to park the trikes and store all the stuff. And we were looking for a contractor, a carpenter, somebody who had those kinds of skills. And it just seemed like God wasn't bringing the right people. And so I've been praying about it. And, you know, a person who I personally knew popped into my head, but he needs a lot of discipleship. So I wasn't quite sure how that was going to fit. But I prayed about it, and I asked him if he would be interested, and I connected him with the project leader, who is like an amazing evangelist. So it was amazing on that connection front, but it was also, they had 2 schools together, and they built the kindergarten closet shelving, and the kindergartners came out and did a thank you, Love Placentia, the next day. And our project leader went back out on that Monday and just celebrated with them about the things that had been done, prayed for the school, pulled the principals and the teachers out, prayed for them. And they said it was the best experience they've had thus far with Love Placentia. So that was huge. I mean, there were just so many, God was working in so many different ways in that, in that one project. And the carpenter and the evangelist project leader are now buddies, and they're going to do stuff together. So praying how God's going to work in that relationship.
That's incredible.
That was pretty awesome.
It's so much more about the relationships, you know, and how they're formed. That's awesome. Good job, Love Placentia. Hey, so kind of in this thread, I'm gonna transition, but not completely. So this past weekend was also Love Modesto. And so there was about 30 individuals that came to experience Love Our Cities and Love Modesto, and just kind of see what's happening, to really take it back to their cities, either as complete newbies, or maybe they've done it for a few years and just needed some more ideas. But so we've asked CK from Milpitas, which is outside of San Francisco, and then Sarah Abrams, and her husband are leading Love Ventura, which is about 45 minutes north of LA, for anyone who doesn't know that, and kind of just sharing. And they're both newer to Love Our Cities and what this looks like. And so I think a cool takeaway, sorry, I'm I'm not stealing your thunder yet, guys, but a cool takeaway for me, at least, with these two being new is that, you know, they're on this call. They've been on these calls for a little while now, and they were able to not only hear from you guys and feel inspired by that, but now they've been and experienced a weekend and are able to take that into their own cities. So I'm going to have them share. CK, why don't you go first? Just kind of a highlight, maybe something you learned and something you're taking back to Milpitas. And then we'll hear from you, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm CK. I belong to Southern Baptist Church in Milpitas, California. We joined this Love Our Cities earlier this year, and we had Jeff, Danielle give us briefings, and we bought the book and we read the book. So we became familiar. And, you know, our church is a fairly good-sized church. So we have done a lot of projects or mission work. So we kind of had some idea as to what Love Milpitas was going to be. But we were kind of blown away by what we actually saw at the Modesto last weekend. 4 of us went over there, and I mean, it was just an incredible event. There was so much love and joy, and everybody was all connected based on trust, and everybody helping out. It was an incredibly joyous event. And I heard some people mention like glimpse of heaven and piece of heaven. I mean, that's what we saw. And we brought back pictures and video clips, and we shared those with our church members. The majority of the response was disbelief. I mean, unbelievable. So we were so impressed, and it kind of opened a new dimension to our church members as to what we can do to the local community in terms of coming together and volunteering like Danielle said, there were about 30 people, and after the massive rally in the morning, 4 of us split into 3 groups. So then I went with John Evans, right? And we visited 3 volunteer sites. And first one was kind of as simple as, local church was volunteering to help build some garden planting boxes for an elementary school. The leader said they have a good relationship with the school, and they're doing whatever principal has been asking. This year, principal wanted bigger planting boxes at the garden. So they were young kids learning how to use tools, and there were volunteers helping. It was a beautiful sight. And the second one was an outreach, a nonprofit doing some volunteer work. This outreach nonprofit was called the Legacy Alliance Outreach. Apparently, they were given some organization donated a building, and they were trying to clean up and renovate. There were a lot of young, school-age children. The school-age kids helping clean up. I mean, it was a disbelief. High school kids and with tools to try to clean up, and they were cutting the overgrown grass, and it was a beautiful sight. So I mean, the whole thing was, as far as I can tell, it was unfolding based on the relationship that's based on trust and mutual respect, and love to volunteer for the city, for the people. So we were so impressed.
Yeah. Learning well, I've said it like 1,000 times, but the relational aspect of all of this and the importance of that as each city moves forward is you have to have relationship with the people.
Absolutely.
Well, we were super pumped you came, CK.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Danielle. Thank you,
Yeah.
Dave. And yeah, thanks to Jeff.
Sarah, let's hear from you, and then we'll transition over. Dave will take over.
Sounds good. Well, good morning. It was a great weekend. It was, it was really fun to be around other people, whether they were already doing their own love projects or they were just there learning and thinking about. Because then we got to just see what they were doing on their own anyway, within their city. So it was really fun to have those kinds of conversations. But I think a couple of things that I took away, we've done one citywide day project. We're coming up on our second this October. And so kind of comparing our small and first operation to something that's been going on for so long and has really become so large. It was good to see the rally. It was great energy. I don't know how it's tracked, if it's tracked how many of your overall volunteers come down to the rally, but it was very full and it was very busy and lots of energy. And I think as far as seeing your rally compared to how ours currently is, it's just kind of on a macro level. It's not a lot. It's simple. There's not a lot of stuff. It would be hard to have like activities and all these kinds of crazy things within a 2-hour time period, but it just took kind of like the simplicity of it, booze, giving away of something of value for the day, to food, and then to the stage and the focus point of that. And so it's kind of how ours was this last year. And so just on a macro level, but it did give us some ideas of some other vendors that we can possibly bring out to add some more value to our rally, especially hopefully as we grow. I think as far as the projects go, again, not knowing what projects we were going to see or how big or small they were going to be, it was nice to see a good variety of projects. And it was also, I don't know what I thought I was going to expect to see, but one of the projects there was like maybe 8 or 10 people. And then other projects, there was like 70 people. And so again, just, I guess for me to know that not every project has to be this huge production for every single project to accommodate so many people. There are plenty of projects that can be on that smaller scale level and to accommodate smaller amounts of people. So those are just kind of some insights that I saw, and my husband Greg as well. And we're excited. We're excited for our October date and to bring some of these insights back to our board. And we're kind of in the thick of it right now, launching for the fall for us. So it's given us a good time frame to be able to kind of motivate, inspire us to keep going.
Awesome.
Thanks a bunch for sharing, y'all. What incredible stories. And again, I think this is a little mini worship service to brag on how God showed up in all of the different cities and how he's going to show up as well. And thank you for serving your city. The people, the connections between the master craftsman who slowed down enough to speak with and to share his craft with a novice. That's why we do this work, right? It's those moments of connection. So creating a serving opportunity creates moments of interpersonal connection. One of the things that I've been particularly interested in lately is the fact that we have a loneliness pandemic, right? It's epidemic across the country right now. And I've been thinking, boy, the city leaders of Love Our Cities are declaring war on loneliness, because you're creating opportunities for people to they're creating interactive opportunities. And so people will feel less lonely because of the work you're doing. So way to go in addressing not only the needs of your city, practically, tangibly, but also addressing the spiritual needs, the emotional needs, the psychological needs by creating these serve opportunities. Okay, we want to give you a chance to debrief a little bit of some of the stories that you've just heard. So there are 3 questions that are in the chat right now. If you just had a spring volunteer day, what is something you want to get better at? So while it's fresh, be thinking of that. If you did not have a spring volunteer day, then what is a question that you have for someone who just had a spring volunteer day? Or the third question is for everybody. What idea did you just get? It could be an idea that you just had that was sparked by somebody from another city. So we're going to have some about 10 minutes, maybe 8 minutes worth of discussion in smaller rooms, 4 or 5 people. So we'll see you back here as you discuss your answers to one or more of the questions that are in the chat. We'll see you back here in a few minutes. Hey, gang, I hope that you just picked up and learned something and codified some kind of way that you're hoping to improve, that you're hoping to continue to help reach people across your city. So one of the most valuable resources that we have is this group right here, this group of people who are aligned and like-minded in seeing an increased number of people in their city to turning toward loving one another. So if you're kind of like, hey, I would love to have a follow-up conversation with somebody that I just interacted with, now's the moment to private chat them and say, hey, can I get your email? Can I get your cell phone so that you can continue the conversation? Because we want, honestly, y'all to be ripping each other off on the great ideas that you have. And so that's how it works. So this is your moment before the call ends to reach out and one-on-one chat with somebody that you can get their contact info and hear more about the idea or the thing that you want to grow within your city. On behalf of your cities, thank you. Thank you from the senior saint who just had their yard cleaned up. Thank you from the mom who was not sure how she was going to be able to serve with her kids, but you thought of a project that was accessible to her children. In fact, did you know that the #1 way to pass faith on from one generation to the other is to serve together? So another thing that you're doing is you're giving parents a tool that they can use to pass their faith on to their children. Your work is helping so many ways. So thank you for all that you do in catalyzing love within your city. We can't wait to see you and learn from you next month as well. First Wednesday of the month. Y'all have a fantastic day. And if you have any questions or ways that we can serve you, Danielle and I are going to stick around here. But otherwise, have a great day.